Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our June Food Security Community Call. I'm Anne-Marie Hart Bookbinder, Food Security Programs Manager at the Montgomery County Food Council. Appreciate you all joining us today. We have a lot of information to get through today about summer programs, specifically those aimed at feeding children. So pretty timely as we're coming up on the last week of school at MCPS. But then I'm really glad to say that we have a big chunk of time later in the call to go into breakout rooms and to talk about some current issues going on in the food security space. So I really appreciate you all joining us today and being here and being present for that part of our conversation. So I just want to share a few quick announcements before we start going into our presentations. The first one is that you may have seen by the astounding response we've been getting in registration, but we are going to be offering 2 trainings, the first of which is happening tomorrow from 2 to 3:30, and it is our SNAP Ambassador training. And thank you to those of you who have registered for that already. I will put the link in the chat if you have not heard about that. And then on June 21st, Wednesday, June 21st, from 2 to 3:30, we will be hosting that same training, but in Spanish. So another great resource for food assistance providers and everyone in the food security community who may be working, who are working with clients that are experiencing food insecurity and how to help better connect those residents to SNAP. I also wanted to make you aware, again, I did send this out through our distribution list the other day, but for those of you who may not have seen it yet, County Department of Environmental Protection will be hosting a commercial food scraps recycling program seminar this Thursday, June 15th, from 2 to 5. I will be putting the link, the registration link in the chat for that as well. That's actually going to be happening in person at the Pooks Hill Marriott. There is a small, I believe it's a $10 fee for parking and for some light refreshments that you need to pay either in cash or check. So come prepared. If you are not able to attend, I'm actually registered to go, and I am happy to share as best I can with those in attendance and leading the sessions, any questions you might have. So if you are not able to attend, please feel free to send your questions to me, and I will do my best to get those questions answered for you and respond to your concerns. I will also reach out to County DEP about if they're willing to host a separate event just for food assistance providers at a later date. So I will keep you posted on how all of that goes. Without further ado, I did see him come in from the waiting room. I believe our first speaker, Shaun Sawko, the Director of Wellness Programs at Montgomery County Public Schools Department of Food and Nutrition Services. Shaun, I don't see your camera, so I'm looking for you, but if you want to, there you are. How are you doing?
Hey, guys.
Thanks so much for joining us, Shaun. I am going to make you a co-host in case you had any slides that you wanted to share. While Shaun is presenting on summer meals programs, I will include all of those things in the chat that I just mentioned. So thanks a lot for your patience, everyone. And I'll turn it over to Shaun.
Good morning, you guys. Or afternoon, I guess. Sorry, I just got back from a farm not too long ago. My name is Shaun. I'm one of the registered dietitians with Montgomery County Public Schools Food and Nutrition Services. We will be transitioning, as you guys should know. The end of the school year is wrapping up on Friday, and we will be transitioning into our summer food service program. Our summer food service program is a very large beast in itself. I don't know what the total count is right now, but we have typically over 100 different summer food service sites. And these are sites that are delivered either bagged meals. So that means the breakfast and lunch is prepared at our central production facility and then sent to the school sites or the community partner sites and then provided to the students there. Or we also have our cafeteria sites. And so the cafe sites are the hot meal services. Those are going to be in our summer or in our school sites themselves, utilizing the school cafeteria. The meals are then cooked and served, and that's usually correlates with the summer food service or summer programming. So whether it's in extended school year programming, or whether it's some other like club or activity that happens at those school sites themselves. As long as there is a group of students, we are there to try to feed them as much as possible. I'm going to be dropping into the chat our summer food service program list of schools. I just uploaded this, which is why I was late, to my share drive so I could share it to you guys too. As far as the meal service goes, we do provide a breakfast and a lunch. It's a little bit of different meal patterns than a normal school year, as well as it's a smaller, there it is, a smaller menu than a normal school year, just because the staffing is more of a skeleton staff. We usually staff a school site if it's has about over 100 students that are enrolled into a summer program. If it's not a summer school site, or if it's not a school site with an enrollment, then we'll usually do a bagged meal site too. Give me 1 second while I share this. Does anyone have any questions while I share this about summer food service program or anything like that? This year
Shaun,
we, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'll just ask, I know it's, already possibly getting a little late, but if there were other providers that were interested in becoming a summer meal site, how would a partner go about doing that?
So we have, sorry, give me 1 second. So we do accept summer food service sites throughout the year. We usually have a cutoff date just to make sure that we have enough staffing as well as the bagging. What usually happens is that Michelle Kim is our contact person for summer food service program. She will set up the sites, and I think I did drop in the Excel spreadsheet into the chat. So she'll set up the sites. We also have to apply for when those sites are open, what time roughly the feeding is. So whether it's for breakfast or for lunch. And then we have to have dates too. So that way we can advertise when those times are too. I will be sharing a link that talks a little bit about the summer food service program too onto the chat. On there, you will see a phone number that you can always reach out to. We also have an email address too. I'll be copying that into the chat too. So if you have any questions or concerns, or if you want to set up a summer food service site itself at your school or at your location, then we can always work to make sure that you meet all the requirements. The main requirements is to have a dedicated adult as the point of contact when it comes to preparing the food, serving the food, and then you have to have make sure that you're able to control the safety and sanitation. So making sure if it is a meal site, if it's a bag site, then you're able to keep things cold. So that way it's not any issues with food safety. So that's just as simple as having a refrigerator and making sure that refrigerator is staying at temperature too. Any other questions, concerns? I know that was very brief.
I don't see any questions, so I'll ask one more. Just so folks understand what they're looking at in that form, can you just explain, and I see wonderfully that all of these sites are listed as open sites. Can you just explain what that means, please? Yeah,
so with our summer food service sites, we provide meals to every single student 18 and under. So any student or they don't even have to be a student, as long as they're a child that is 18 and under, goes to a school site, they will get fed, or goes to a summer food service site, they will get fed. The way that these sites are selected or approved is if they are meeting an area eligibility standpoint too. And so area eligibility means for those schools have to be, or the feeder schools into those summer programmings, they have to be at or above 50% free and reduced, or we have to utilize a roster system. So roster system being, we have 100 students enrolled into this summer food service program. About 70 of them are on free and reduced meals. Therefore, then that site itself would qualify for summer food service programs. Because of those restrictions and because of the loss of the federal waivers that we received or that we didn't have continue after last year, we had to transition back to the site or area eligibility programming too. So if it's not at a school, as long as those students are in that surrounding school is 50% or above free and reduced meals, then that site would then qualify too. Did that answer your question, Anne-Marie?
Yes, thank you. I do have a few more, but there's one in the chat that I want to make sure we get to. So Katie from Oneco Help is asking about sites in the Up County area in the Ag Reserve, Poolsville, that she's noticing no one on the list are really close to that area. Can you explain a little bit as to why, what the are there no schools that qualify in that area? Are there, partners that we can help recruit in that area?
Yeah, if there are any sites that would want to open that area that have at least 50% of those students that would qualify for free and reduced meals, we can open that into an area eligible site utilizing that roster system too. We receive applications for sites, and so we approve it based off of those two standpoints. So if the feeder school around it would be area eligible, so 50% above, or if the amount of students that are in the rosters. So unfortunately, because of this year, we cannot, we don't have the funding, nor do we have the waivers that allowed us to allow a lot more sites in previous school years because of the COVID-19 pandemic. This year, we had to revert back to that area eligibility standpoint. So because of that, it might be not as well dense as far as the amount of sites. It might be a little bit more sparse.
Okay. So I guess for a case like this, because there's no school that qualifies, it would have to be some type of community program going on where the roster of students attending, then the percentage met the need.
Yes, exactly.
Qualify.
Yeah.
Okay. Katie, do you want to ask anything more about that? I want to make sure we don't, that we address your question, but we also, like, if there's any kind of problem solving that we can do here or offline, I'm happy to,
Yeah, thank you for taking it. I think this is just another case that we meet time and time again with our area of the county, because we are lower population. The same metrics just don't make sense out here, but that's a bigger problem than this individual thing. But it just doesn't make sense to apply the same metrics to a dense area to an agricultural area.
And I know in certain school districts, there was a waiver that was signed not that long ago around rural settings. However, because MCPS itself is an entire school district, we don't qualify for that rural summer programming settings too. And that really had to do with congregate feedings. So in our summer food service sites, we have to do congregate feedings versus non-congregate feedings. The non-congregate feedings is more of a grab and go kind of situation. So because of the fact that it is a congregate seating, that we have to have our students actually eat the meals at the school sites themselves or at the sites themselves, whether it's a park and rec site or a partnership site too, versus just providing meals and then distributing them like we did during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thanks.
There is also, I'm going to go ahead and drop this into the chat. This is Maryland's website itself. So MSDE created a tool on there, and the tool itself showcases, and again, a lot of summer programming doesn't start until after school ends, but there is both a text and a summer meals site locator app on here. So you can either text, I think it's 211, I believe. Yeah, so you can call 211 or text 304-304, and that will allow you to identify a school or a site, summer food service site that is close to your proximity. The application is really our summer food service site locator is really great too, because you can drop the address of whatever your house is or your location is, and they'll show you the closest proximity to, as well as if you see the on the top right, you can see the 2023 sites, and then they have a list of every single site as well as the breakfast and lunch distribution times too.
Shaun, there are a few more questions in the chat. So Dana Brown is asking that, or noticing that some of the programs don't start until July, and asking if there are other sources of food for children that would normally get meals at school. And I realize you mentioned this map, but is there any other kind of bridge between when school ends, next Friday, and when a summer program might be starting?
Yeah, and again, going back to the summer food service sites themselves, we need to make sure that we have students there, and as well as an adult that is able to provide meals, as well as a safe location to store food too, that is going to keep everything at temperatures. So because of that, sometimes sites hop on and then hop off, which is the reason why there is a start date and end date for all of these programs. But of course, at any time, they can always call the 211 or text that number too to see what the closest location is. Unfortunately, there's just no we can't have those programs run throughout the entire year because the students may not be there the entire summer, because the students may not be there the entire summer, or it could be that staff is not manning those sites during that period of time. So whether it's through a community partner or Parks and Recs, or it's staffed by ourselves too. And then I see the second one is from Jenny. Are the bags listed in the tables bags that are given to students take home, or bags they still eat on site? So that's how we just distribute. So it's either a bagged meal site or a cafeteria site. So the bagged meals are actually produced in our CPF central production facility, and those are meals that are individual meals but in a bag. So students are just provided them just like they would be provided like a snack or supper, but they are still to be eaten on site themselves. We are only allowed to provide congregate meals, which means that the students have to eat together at the location itself.
Shaun, one last thing, because I know this does come up a lot, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but just want to make sure I'm sharing the right information. What can families expect, when they go to this site with children? Are there any form of ID requirements? If they're bringing children that are not their own, kind of what are the logistical concerns that a family should be aware of when they're going to a site?
Yeah, again, it's anyone that's 18 and under. So we don't require any specific IDs or anything like that. Of course, if someone looks a little bit older, like they look like they're in their 20s or 30s, we would probably question them at that point too, because it is for students themselves. But no ID requirements or anything like that. And it's any child that's 18 and under too. And then the meals consist of breakfast is typically a grain or a sandwich kind of style, as well as fruit, juice, milk. And then lunches are typically, again, sandwiches, depending on where the location is. So if it's a cafe site, we also have like chicken drumsticks. We have vegetarian options too. And then, of course, vegetables, fruits, and milk too.
Shaun, thank you so much for that. And thank you for sharing the spreadsheet, especially with the times. That's really helpful. If there are no other questions, I think we'll move on to our next speaker. And if, Shaun, obviously we invite you to stay with us. I understand if you can't, but any other questions that come up, please feel free to keep putting them in the chat, and either Shaun will get to them or I will get them to Shaun, and we will get you answers for what you need. So thanks so much.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks. All right, we're going to move on to our next speaker, which is Julia Gross from Maryland Hunger Solutions, to talk to us about summer pandemic EBT. And I apologize in advance that there's going to be lots of summer named programs and different acronyms that some of which will change in meaning between this year and next year. So just bear with us, and we will try to make it as clear as possible for everybody in the notes that go out. Thanks, Julia.
Yeah, thanks, Anne-Marie. And thanks to Shaun for giving such great information about summer meals. We love that program. It's fantastic. And I just wanted to shout out again the mdsummermeals.org, the state website. I know that is updated nightly. So just if you check it today, just because you're not seeing a summer meal site around doesn't mean that there's maybe not going to be one later. It's not a guarantee that there's going to be one later, but I just wanted to make sure everyone knows that it is updated throughout the summer. So just make sure you're checking if you need to find a summer meal site around you. There might be one popping up later in the summer that isn't around right now. So moving on to some of the EBT benefits programs for kids during the summer. There are a few of them, and I'm going to try to make this brief but as clear as possible, because I know all of these programs have changed so much over the past couple of years. It's been really hard to keep up with, and a lot of them sound very similar and are very easily confused. So I'll try to be clear, and if anyone has any questions, please feel free to let me know or pop them in the chat. I will try as best I can to answer them with the information that I have. So starting off, I'm also going to put a lot of links in the chat. So sorry in advance for all of the websites you have to visit. Starting off with Pandemic EBT, this is the program that was started in 2020 when the pandemic hit and schools closed. It's been through, like I said, a number of iterations. This summer is the very last iteration we will see. This is the last summer that we will have Pandemic EBT. So right now, I did check the DHS website is up to date, and I can also put links to the Maryland's approved plans in the chat if anyone wants to dive into something a little bit more detailed and a little bit harder to read. But we have 2 plans approved for Maryland currently. One of them is Summer Pandemic EBT, and one of them is the 2022-2023 school year plan for children under 6. So I'll start with Summer Pandemic EBT. For Summer Pandemic EBT, that will be going out to all children who are eligible for and enrolled in free or reduced price meals in the 2022-2023 school year. And it will be going out in 2 different distribution chunks. The entire benefit for the summer is going to be $120 per student for the whole summer. And the tentative schedule is going to be distributed in July and in August for students who are currently enrolled. And then for children who are going to be enrolled or maybe newly eligible or weren't enrolled during the school year and are going to be enrolled during the summer, they'll likely only get 1 distribution, the whole amount in August. The cutoff date to apply for free or reduced price meals is July 15th. So for students who are maybe newly eligible and want to get summer P-EBT benefits, they have to apply by July 15th for free or reduced price meals. And then all benefits need to be distributed by September 30th. That is not a Maryland deadline, that is a federal deadline. So all of the benefits need to be out by that date. And then let's see, what else do I need to share about this? It's estimated to cover about 180 or 480,000 students. So that's everyone who is enrolled in free and reduced price meals. And just to clarify who is included in that population, it doesn't include any homeschooled students. It also doesn't include the children under 6 on SNAP that the other plan includes. So that's what's happening for the summer plan. Looking at the children under 6 plan, so this is the school year plan. It covers the months of September through May, but the distribution dates are also during the summer. So I'll just touch briefly on it. So this is the school year plan for children under 6 who are on SNAP. So they have to be eligible. The students must be in an area with proven reduced access to childcare. And to figure that out, the state is going to compare CACFP childcare lunch claims. So the families don't have to apply, the students don't have to apply. It'll be something that the state compares data from year to year to figure out what areas are going to be eligible and what children are going to be eligible for those benefits. So that's estimated to be around 89,000 kids in the state. And then looking at the distribution timeline, there's going to be this was a tentative schedule in the plan. Not sure if this is what the state has stuck to, but the tentative schedule was a distribution in May, one in June, and one in July. And then again, with all benefits needing to be out by September 30th. So that May distribution was supposed to be covering the months of September through November 2022. The June distribution was covering December and January, and then that July distribution will cover the months of February through May. Once again, these are kids under 6. There's no current school year plan for actual school age kids. I don't know if that is something that the state is still working on, but I know we don't have a plan right now, unfortunately. So we're just looking at kids under 6 during the school year, and then the school age children for the summertime. And then one other thing I'll mention for pandemic EBT, unfortunately, I know it's been a while since the last distribution. And so there are probably a lot of families out there who have not kept their pandemic EBT cards. But the distributions that are happening in the summertime are going to be made. If that child has gotten pandemic EBT before, they are going to be made on the same cards. So if families have lost their cards in the meantime or just haven't kept them, they will need to be requesting card replacements. And that is that's a process that can be found on that DHS website that I put in the chat. There's a number that they can call to get a card replacement. For kids who have never gotten P-EBT benefits before, they'll be sent a new card, a very specific P-EBT card. It's not going out on any SNAP cards, as far as I know. And I think those are all.
I'm sorry. Would that imply then that families should be getting a letter alerting them to this fact, that then they would know to call if they no longer had the card?
They should be getting a letter notifying them if they're getting P-EBT benefits. Yes, so hopefully that'll have information on it about getting a replacement card. If not, just know that it is available. The information is available on the website. So we'll just have to do a good job of outreach and making sure that all families know about that. I'm really hoping that it's going out on the letter though. Yes. I think those are all of my updates for pandemic EBT. I can pause if there and pull up the chat too, and look to see if there are, how much is the benefit for children under 6? That's a great question. I think it varies, since that's one that is based on a proven reduced access. I don't think there's a set amount like there is in the summertime. The summer months that are being covered is the same for everyone. So they're able to publish that $120 amount for the kids under 6, because it's on a kind of proven reduced access. It'll be different amounts of days for different areas. And so I don't think they're able to share like a certain set amount online or publicly. I think that'll be something that changes depending on the child's location. Great. Well, I have a couple of other programs that I wanted to touch on if we have time. Great, just a couple of minutes to dedicate. So we have 2 other programs that I wanted to mention. They sound very similar. So again, trying to just differentiate them a little bit in everyone's minds. So we have summer SNAP and then summer EBT. So Summer SNAP is a state-funded program. It was created through state legislation a couple of years ago, and it provides families with $30 per month in June, July, and August, and $10 per month in December, so $100 a year total for students that are enrolled in SNAP. So it's not every student who is qualified for free and reduced price meals. It's just those students who are already on SNAP, enrolled in SNAP, and then get those extra dollars on their actual SNAP card. So because this is state legislation and it's state funded, there is a certain appropriation amount given to this program. It has never been fully funded, so not every student across the state who is eligible for this program will get that funding. It
So
depends
Julia,
on which. Yes.
I'm so sorry. Our next speaker is actually going to cover Summer SNAP, so I'm going to take that off your plate. But before you touch on the other program you wanted to mention, we did have one question in the chat still about summer P-EBT, and they asked, so unlike in the past, SNAP recipients will not get summer P-EBT on regular EBT cards.
No, and that, yeah, you're right. That is one of the changes that happened. I think the first like 1 or 2 distributions, students were getting, if they were on SNAP, they were getting that P-EBT distribution on their SNAP card. If they weren't on SNAP, they were getting a separate P-EBT card mailed to them. That changed a couple distributions ago, and now everyone has a P-EBT or has or gets a separate P-EBT card. So families should be getting a separate P-EBT card with the child's name on it. So it's a different card for each child.
Can I add something?
Rodney, actually, why don't we finish up with this and then devote all your time to Summer SNAP, so it's in everyone's head in one section, because I feel like if we start talking about too many programs at one time,
This is in reference.
Get confused.
No. This is in reference to P-EBT. Summer
Please.
P-EBT. Yes.
Yes, please.
So, just to let it. Hi, my name is Rodney Glasgow. I'm one of the managers that work for the Office of Eligibility Support Services, Montgomery County, DHHS. What I want to say about the P-EBT for those customers who did not get a P-EBT card in the beginning, or they lost it and they trying to to see if they're eligible, they might not have got the letter in time, or the letter didn't go out, because sometimes the notices from DHS, you just never know. If they're going to come to the office or they're going to call to get a P-EBT card, my recommendation is make sure they contact the P-EBT hotline first, because through there they should be able to determine if their child's eligible for P-EBT benefits, and then at that point they can then call to get the replacement card, or if they have to go to the offices, they can go to any of the regional offices to get the P-EBT card for their child. Okay, I just wanted to add that piece in there.
Thanks so much. Okay, Julia, did you want to talk about the last program you were mentioning?
Yes. Just making sure there are no more lingering questions in the chat for me.
Yeah, I actually just asked Cassie if I think all of your questions have been covered between those answers, but if not, please raise your hand and speak up. I just want to make sure we've got that all addressed.
Okay, perfect. Well, the last one's super easy for now. So summer EBT is not going to be distributed this summer. So it's not something that we have to worry about at the moment. It's not going to be a resource for summer 2023, but it will be an option in 2024. So that's something that the state will have to apply for. Much like pandemic EBT, there will have to be a plan in place, but as far as I know, Maryland is planning to apply and will hopefully have summer EBT benefits going out next year. But for this year, I just wanted to mention it because I know there's, kind of news and talk about it. It's, a new option for that has just been put in place nationwide. So far, it's just been a pilot program going on in a couple of states that Maryland has never been a part of, but now it is a nationwide option. So I'm sure people have heard news of it, and I just wanted to mention it because it won't be, the benefits won't be available this summer, but we will be watching out for it next summer, and we'll hopefully have more updates about how that plan is going to roll out in the coming months. But I think for now, we're mostly worried about getting those P-EBT benefits out and hopefully summer SNAP for the districts that are applying for it.
Julia, thank you so much. I appreciate your ability to get all of that straight, all of those different programs. I do just also want to mention, and Julia, maybe if you could share in the chat any information for folks who haven't been involved in the past, but even though we're coming up on the summer, it's never too early to start thinking about the fall. And I know that Maryland Hunger Solutions, along with the American Heart Association, has been regrouping again about trying to get school meals for all passed in next year's legislation. And so those groups are starting to meet again. So please, Julia will share some information in the chat if you were not already engaged with that group and would like to. They are back up and running, and hope to see you there and involved on that issue. So thanks so much. All right, and I will now turn things over to Rodney Glasgow from the county's Department of Health and Human Services to talk about summer SNAP. And I will check to see if Yvonne has joined us yet, but if not, Rodney, if you would like to take it away, feel free. I've made you a co-host in case you have any slides to share.
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Great.
Let me see.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm here, but Rodney can go ahead.
Welcome, Yvonne.
Hello.
Okay, let's see.
I think it's a lot of overlap with what Julia has already said, so I'm not sure how you want to do it. Rodney, you have the presentation, right?
Yeah, hold on. I do, but when I clicked on it, I clicked on both
Oh,
screens.
you have,
Wait a second.
Yvonne, you have the great on the ground information as to where it's being implemented and how. And I think that's going to be incredibly useful to our providers here to know what zip codes are being serviced and what families can expect.
Okay, Anne-Marie, I sent you the presentation also. So Rodney, if you're not able to pull it up, I just sent, yeah.
Oh, great, great.
Yeah, when I'm pulling it up, it's actually covering both my screens for some reason. I have no idea why. But let me try it again so I can have it from the beginning. No current slide. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. Okay. Anne-Marie, if you have it and you could put it on the screen, that'd be great, because for some reason I have it.
I just finished downloading it. Yep, I will.
Okay, good. And if you can go to slide, we could begin at slide 8 because we already covered P-EBT already, it looks like.
Yeah.
Sorry, just give me 1 second to adjust
Sure.
my screen. I'm sorry, what slide number?
Slide 8.
There we go.
Summer SNAP. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this will be two short slides that Yvonne put together for us. So summer SNAP. So we and Yvonne, Iscandari is administrative with OESS, and she's my boss. So me and her have been working over the last week, and literally just this morning sent the completed list of all the school-age children that will be receiving, hopefully get approved anyway, to be receiving this summer SNAP benefit. Just before I talk about what's on the slide, just to give you guys how it has been working with us anyway. State of Maryland comes up with a pot of money, and they say that if they're gonna get, like, to just give you an example, if we're gonna give you guys 500,000. They want us to match it. So they say, here's the amount of children, here's what we're going to do, which was 50%. And then you guys come up with the remaining balance. Initially, we were going to be serving 12,009 children. But we had some additional money from last year that they were able to move over to this year, and some additional money that they gave us. So in that calculation, we are requesting some additional money to be able to service 15,359 children from the ages of 5 to 18. So once that gets approved, the state of Maryland will be issuing those funds. And as we have on the screen, I'll just talk about it. This is how it will go. This was passed in the Maryland Assembly since 2019. It reduces food insecurity and provides healthy food options for low-income children, and it provides $30 in the summertime months for June, July, and August, and $10 in the winter month for December, which is a total of $100 per child. You go to the next slide, Anne-Marie. Thanks. So funding has increased, as I said, from 250,000 in the first year to 5 million for FY24. Montgomery County will be serving approximately 37% more children, as I indicated earlier, in the FY24 than in 23. Targeted children, all TCA school-age children between ages 5 and 18 actively participate in SNAP. All linkages to learning elementary and middle school children actively participate in SNAP, and school-age children residing in 7 zip codes with over 50% participation and actively participating in SNAP. Last year, just to give you guys just some information, we were only able to serve 7 zip codes. And this year, with the total amount, I forgot the total number of zip codes, it might be something like 14.
It's 14.
14 zip codes that we're able to serve this year, which is great for the children in Montgomery County. And that's basically our Summer SNAP program. Do you have any questions? Anything you want to add, Yvonne?
I think that's pretty much covers it. Yeah, the difference between the Summer SNAP and the P-EBT, whether it's the summer P-EBT or childcare, is that with Summer SNAP, it was passed in legislation, child has to be actively participating in the SNAP program, as opposed to the pandemic EBT, where the child has to be eligible for the FARMS program. So I see a question there that says, so no more contacting DHHS if you have SNAP for help. Not sure what the question is, but the reference, Rodney, I think you may speak to that, but the reference you had made about the 800 number was specific to those persons inquiring about P-EBT. And if we don't have them on the list and can't retrieve those children in the EPIC system, because this is not a program that we offer. So the child has to be eligible based on what MSDE and DHS have agreed on. So that's why that family or whoever is inquiring has to make contact the 800 number and not us for that. But anyone inquiring about the SNAP program absolutely still comes through us, and we will answer those questions they may have.
Which zip codes will be targeted this year? Oh, somebody want to know all the zip codes?
Yeah, if we could.
Hold on. All the zip codes we covering this year. Okay, we are covering. Do I need to put it all in the chat? Or I could just say it.
We can put it. I think last time we met, it was that the Food Council had that. So
Yeah,
it's all the linkages to learning zip codes. How about that? So if we do check online linkages to learning programs, you would see that. So we typically have done in the past the 7 zip codes with over 50% participation. We can share that. And then this year we just added the remaining linkages schools. So that covers 14 zip codes.
think
That's the
I did
first-
have the
that's the
list.
first
Oh, here,
7.
I've got it, and I had written out what location that covers, just in case folks were, oh, there we go. There we go. Great.
I'll put the other 7 in there now.
So the addition were, so Yvonne, were you saying that the linkages, might there be more than these 7, or it's still just 7?
That's right.
Okay, okay, so I can go back and add those, but these were what we had and where they serve.
I'm just putting the additional zip codes in there.
Great.
I already put it in, Yvonne.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yeah,
thank
I
you.
already put the additional 7 in.
Oh,
Great.
okay, thank
And
you.
I'll be sure to get that in the notes, and just like
Okay.
I did here, I'll list what general area that serves, so our providers are familiar with what's happening there.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Great, great. I know that was a lot of information on a lot of different programs, and we will do, Betsy, I'm loving your face as I say that. And I will be sure to try to get that as clear in the notes as I possibly can. That being said, my day after email might have to go out 2 days after if I really want to make sure that that's clear this time around. So have a little patience with me if you don't see that usual email tomorrow. Okay. Thank you so much, Yvonne and Rodney, for that information. Incredibly helpful and great to know all of the programs. Really to all of our speakers, thank you so much for that information of the different resources that are going to be available to families with children this summer to meet the need. So what I'd like to do now is switch us into our community conversation into breakout rooms. We're going to go into 4